We'd like to welcome you to our weekday class, Making Sense of Irish Locations, taught by Elder Vaughn Johnson. This class is the first in a 5-part series on Irish research. I personally have Irish roots and have benefited from Elder Johnson's expertise. I'm excited for this class. And at the beginning, I'd like to ask you all virtual participants to please mute yourselves and do not unmute yourselves until the class is completely over. If you have a question, the raise your hand feature does not work in this format, but you can type your questions into the Q&A or the chat, and that will be monitored. And so we'd like to thank Elder Johnson for his time and his effort in putting this class together and presenting, and we'll now turn the time over to Elder Johnson.
Thank you. We're going to present a Making Sense of Irish Locations. This is a presentation about Irish locations. It involves some history and some geography. Why is this important? Knowing your ancestors is dependent on knowing where they live. Irish jurisdictions are unique, they're different. Understanding these differences is important to finding your ancestors. I have often said the secret of Irish genealogy is location, location, and location. This is a map of Ireland. Ireland won its independence from England in 1921. The terms of the treaty allowed 6 counties in Northern Ireland to remain in the United Kingdom. Opponents of the treaty were opposed to the creation of Northern Ireland and fought a civil war to reject the treaty. The opponents occupied the Four Courts building in Dublin. In the process of defeating them, the building was destroyed and many records were lost, including census records, wills, and Church of Ireland parish registers. Irish immigrants came to America in 2 waves. The first wave was in the colonial era. It's estimated that approximately 250,000 Irish came to America in this period. Most of these immigrants were Scotch Irish from Ulster. Ulster constitutes these 6 counties plus Monaghan, Cavan, and Donegal. Second wave was created by the potato famine between 1845 and 1851. The overwhelming majority of this wave were Catholics. The population of Ireland in 1841 was 8,175,000. When the potato famine was over in 1851, the population had declined by 1/3. Between 1820 and 1910, 4,787,000 Irish immigrants came to America. Millions of Americans claim to have primary or partial Irish ancestry. So historic Ireland has been divided since 1921. It now constitutes the Republic of Ireland, which constitutes 26 counties, and Northern Ireland, which constitutes 6 counties and is part of the United Kingdom. Now we're going to look at the jurisdictions of Ireland. These are civil jurisdictions. That means they're government. Parishes do have a religious connection. Civil parishes have the same boundaries and the name as the Church of Ireland parishes. The Church of Ireland was the state church in Ireland until 1870. The English government imposed the Church of Ireland, which was the Irish branch of the Church of England, on the Irish nation. I might say not always with great success. Counties are divided into civil parishes. Government records use civil parish locations. So we're talking about the census, 1901, 1911, civil registration, birth, marriages, and deaths. Griffith's valuation, which we'll talk about more in a moment, and other government records use civil parish locations. Now, civil parish boundaries sometimes cross county boundaries. For example, the civil parish Leitrim is mainly in County Cork, but a small areas in County Waterford. Civil parishes can occasionally be disconnected, existing as two or more independent areas. These are exceptions to the rule, not the usual. Website to show us the maps and the names of civil parishes. John Grenham is perhaps the best known living Irish genealogist. His website is a subscription site, although incidental use is free. Go to Irish place names and we'll click on civil parish maps. Select County Clare as our example here. We're going to select Kilfarboy Parish in County Clare. This is a civil parish in County Clare. The places in Kilfarboy are townlands. Townlands are comparable to what we call townships in America. Notice on the right is a summary of the research sources for Kilfarboy. So over here on the right is these resource sources for this parish. Now I've clicked on a surname, a common surname in Kilfarboy, happens to be the Talty family, which is a surname that's found only in County Clare with one exception over in Dublin. Now, parishes are subdivided into townlands. For example, in parish Kilfarboy in County Clare, these are the townlands. This is a map of the townlands in Kilfarboy. There are 40 townlands in Kilfarboy. Townlands are the smallest geographical entity in Ireland. They may consist of just a few houses on just a few acres. They all have names. Now, while I say they may be on a few acres, some townlands are hundreds of acres. Towns are small communities. How can you determine the townland where your ancestor lived? Well, there are several sources that will help you do this. Griffith's Valuation, 1848 to 1864, which was a nationwide valuation of properties. Some church records, civil registration. These will all help you find the townland of your ancestors. And I might say the census as well. There are over 60,000 townlands in Ireland. They all have names. Now, if you want a townland map, townlands.ie will give you a townland map. Identifying a townland of an ancestor is analogous to an address. You can actually have mail distributed if you've identified the townland. Some important resources to help you in this. The IR Atlas Townland Index, formerly Sean Ruad, is one. Griffith's Valuation, which we talked about this earlier. And my favorite source is A New Genealogical Atlas of Ireland, second edition by Brian Mitchell. I'll show you an image of that in a moment. Irish census, 1901, 1911, and John Grenham. The New Genealogical Atlas of Ireland. I find this book to be a great aid in determining Irish location. Now we're going to Sean Ruad, otherwise known as the Ire Atlas Index. Here it is, Ire Atlas Townlands Search Form. Okay. We're going to enter a county and a parish. This parish is Civil Parish, is shown here. County Clare. And when we submit here, it's going to print all of the townlands in this parish. I'll submit here, and here is the first page of the townland names. Now you'll notice across the top, we have how many acres are in this townland, what county it's in, what barony. We don't use barony very often in family search, but in family history, but it's here. The parish, the poor law union. Now the poor law union is also has the same boundaries as the civil registration district. The province, again, we're not going to use that much in genealogy, but it's there. Okay, I'm going to show you the second page. This is the second page of the townlands in this parish. Now you'll notice one here that's different. Milltown, Malbay with a capital T here. This happens to be a town. So you notice this is going to be a rural parish because there's only one town in the whole parish.
Let's go. Yeah.
This is a picture, an aerial picture of the town, Milltown, Malbay, which is the only town in Kilfarboy Parish. Church in the background. More about this later. Now we're going to talk just a moment about Griffith's valuation. We'll deal with this in more detail in a later presentation, but just to show you how you can find location of ancestors with Griffith's valuation. Valuation can be accessed from Ask About Ireland. So you enter Ask About Ireland and do a search, and there here at the bottom is Griffith's valuation. I'm going to click on Griffith's valuation and up comes this search form. Now I'm going to enter the name Talty, which is the name we found earlier, and first name Michael and County Clare. And I'm going to search for Michael Talty in County Clare. And here's what comes up. You'll notice there are more than one Michael Clare in Kilfarboy Parish. I'm going to click on this one here. And here's the record that shows Michael Talty, who occupies a particular property, and his landlord, who is George Wyndham, County Clare, and parish is Kilfarboy, and the townland is Glendyne South. Now, this was published in 1855. So we know at that date, 1855, Michael Talty lived on this particular property, and this is a record of it. So Griffith's valuation is a nationwide valuation of property. It was taken between 1847 and 1864. It shows both the tenant and the owner of the property. Incidentally, in Ireland, there were very few people that occupied property that actually owned it. Now, there is an option here that shows a map of the property. With that map, you can go to Ireland and walk across the property that your ancestor occupied. Right, Griffith's valuation then is a nationwide valuation of property taken between 1847 and 1864. It shows both the tenant and the owner of the property, identifies the townland and parish of the property, and as an option shows you the map of the property. Now we're going to discuss this in greater detail when we discuss Griffith's valuation as a census substitute in our census presentation. Now we're going to talk about finding Catholic parishes. Catholic records are recorded in Catholic parishes. Catholic parish boundaries and names are usually different from civil parishes. A New Genealogical Atlas of Ireland by Brian Mitchell. Google civil parish name and the county and look for Catholic parish names. Use the family search wiki. Search for Catholic parishes under civil parish names. And then we have two others, John Grenham and the National Library of Ireland, which has excellent Catholic parish maps. We'll deal with this last one here in greater detail in the church records presentation. Catholic parishes can also cross county boundaries. We will use John Grenham's website to display Catholic parish boundaries. So go to John Grenham's website and click on place names. And you see here, we click on Roman Catholic parish maps. Let's put in the county, however, to do this, okay? Apparently didn't do it in this screen. Okay, I selected County Clare, and here's Roman Catholic parish names for County Clare. Now, here I click on County Clare, and here are the Catholic parish maps of County Clare. Holding the pointer over a particular parish will show you the alternate names for that. Now, this is this particular parish is Milltown Malbay. It has an alternate name of Kilfarboy. Now, if we remember correctly, Kilfarboy was the civil parish name. So in this case, which is an exception, Milltown Malbay, which is a Catholic parish, and Kilfarboy, which is a civil parish, have the same boundaries. And Milltown Malbay, the Catholic parish, is also known as Kilfarboy. This is unusual. All right, how do you resolve civil versus Catholic parish boundaries? Use the New Genealogical Atlas of Ireland to compare the boundaries of Catholic and civil parishes. They usually have different names and boundaries. Catholic parishes may have multiple names, and this problem can be resolved in the National Library of Ireland site, which will be introduced in the church records presentation. Now I'm going to finally talk about the civil registration districts. Civil registration district boundaries are identical to poor law unions. Poor law unions existed before civil registration districts, and all they did was adopt the boundaries of poor law unions and made them civil registration district boundaries. Civil registration districts / poor law unions can be identified from Brian Mitchell, a New Genealogical Atlas of Ireland, or from searches in Find My Past, Ancestry, or Family Search. So how do these searches work? Well, if you search for a name of an individual and there are records for that person, it will show you the poor law union or I should say, the civil registration district for where that individual was born or was married or died. Civil registration districts are usually desirable for civil registration searches of births, marriages, and deaths in Irish genealogy. That isn't always the case. If you have an unusual name, that isn't necessarily true, or sometimes an exact birth date or marriage date will assist you to find people in civil registration searches. I want to talk about resolving the spelling of Townlands. Ruad or the Townland Index allows input for a segment of a name. The problem is Catholic priests and others did not always spell the Townland correctly. For example, in County Kilkenny, a Catholic priest spelled a Townland as Bally, B-A-L-L-Y-B-E-A in one document and B-A-L-L-Y-B-E-G-H on another. We're going to use Sean Ruad or the Ireland Atlas Townland database to resolve this problem. So I'm going to enter a segment of the name which both of these names had in common. And so we'll enter B-A-L-L-Y-B-E, County Kilkenny, and we'll click on submit here, and it will tell us the correct spelling of this Townland, which is Bally, B-E-A-E-H. So which one was correct? The answer is neither. Concludes my presentation.